you're watching this and you're debating should you go to the island of Milos or not, then I'm here for you to tell you literally to drop whatever you're doing and go and book your tickets now, because literally this was the best holiday I have ever had. And because I really hope that you trust my advice and you book your holiday to Milos, I'm just here to plan it out and I will tell you absolutely everything that you need to know before going to Milos. I will tell you how can you get there, which are the best areas where to stay, which are the most beautiful beaches, what else can you do, and of course give you some budget-friendly tips because you know guys, we're always on a budget. And if you're new here, welcome! My name is Fasi, I live in London, but I also love traveling. If you want to see more of this informative but also fun content, don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe. It literally takes you 2 seconds, but it helps me out a lot. Well, the entry requirements in terms of COVID, they're pretty much the same as into the whole Greece, so I'm not going to get into too much into detail at the moment. You can go and check out this video for more information. But I just want to tell you that the island has an airport, but most of the flights are internal. Like you can get a flight from Athens and land in there. Or a more popular way of coming into the island is by ferry. They're both slow ferries and fast ferries. And we took the fast one and we came from Santorini. And let me give you a little bit of short history of the island. As I told you, this is the island of Milos. It's known as the Island of Lovers because of the statue that was discovered in here in 1820. It is of course also called the Island of Color because of these beautiful colors, both from the sea, and just look at these incredible views. Where should you stay in the island of Milos? Well, we actually stayed at the city of Adamas, which is the biggest village. I say village because it's really not that big, but it offers the most options when it comes to restaurants, hotels, also supermarkets. The bus station is there, the taxi station as well. So if you want to be well connected, you should definitely stay in there. And oh, I was about to forget the port. The main reason why we stayed in there is because we came by ferry from Santorini, and after that we stayed in the same city. And you can also stay at the city of Plaka, which is actually the capital of the island. It is super beautiful, picturesque, old town, but I just have to warn you that if you decide to rent a car, it's not ideal because most of the hotels are up on the hill on the ancient town, and there is no way that any car passes from there, so most of the parkings are actually down the hill, and after that you have to climb up. So I think if you decide to go to get around by bus or by taxi, then it is a good option for you, but not if you decide to have a car. And just a small entre parenthesis, which is actually very important, so you guys don't skip that. If you're going like this year or next year, you need to get a COVID test. Keep in mind that this is literally the only city into the island where you can get tested. And another popular city, Bologna, which is on the northeast part of the island, and it is actually one of the few places which has a port. It is very calm, also very family friendly with a lot of restaurants, and also it is the place on the island where the water and the sea is very calm. How to get around the island? Well, the most popular option and the one which we actually decided to opt for was renting a car, which we booked in advance. And you should definitely book your car in advance because there is such a high demand that if you go there and you haven't booked a car, the chances are that you won't be able to find anything, or if you do, the price will be really high. And another popular option which many people do is to rent one of these squads, an ATV, and of course there is also the option of getting around by bus, which I don't really suggest it to you unless you're staying for a very short amount of time, because buses pass like only one in every hour, and I wouldn't say it's the most convenient option, also because some of the beaches are not reached by bus, but from the other side, if you want to save some money, it costs only 2 euros per ride. And also in the description down below you can actually find the bus schedule. And let's see what are the best things to do on the island. And of course we will start with the beaches, because come on, if you go to Milos you have to visit those beautiful beaches. And one of the most famous beaches on the island is called Sarakiniko, and oh my god, you guys, when you start going down, it actually stops looking like you're actually on Earth. It really feels like you're walking on the moon, and mostly because these rocks are so smooth that you can easily sit in there and it is still comfortable, as crazy as this sounds. Adventure lovers, are you here? I really hope you are, because I have literally the perfect beach for you. So to get into this beach, you really have to be, first of all, you have to be fit, and it's even better if you have been hiking before, because the only way in which you can get down to the beach is by taking this rope and then getting down to this metal pole. There are quite a lot of people. I didn't expect that so many people would be in there, and also it gets quite dangerous at some parts, so just be prepared for that. Yeah, it's definitely not for everyone, but at the same time, I have to say it was totally worth it. Look at that. And a nice, a little bit calmer beach which I really enjoyed is the one of Fyropotamos. It is a very small beach, but it is one of the few places where if you want you can actually get a sunbed and also an umbrella, because trust me, these things are not available at most of the beaches. There are so many houses which kind of go even inside the sea, and they're super picturesque, very beautiful, and there are actual people that live there at the moment. And Kleptiko Bay is the best one, and I kept it for last also because I have a story for you. Basically, you guys, I saw that on Google Maps that you can get very close into this beach, and after that you can hike down for a little bit more than 1 hour and you will see the bay. And we literally tried doing that following Google Maps, but after that we actually got lost with the car, and we also ended up at this unpaved roads up the mountain, and we were driving for over an hour and there seemed to be no end. I would really suggest you actually doing what pretty much every tourist is doing, and you can take a boat and actually it will take you all around the island and you will see Kleptiko Bay. And if in some afternoon you're very warm, as pretty much I am at the moment, you can also visit the ancient Roman catacombs, and the entrance is only 4 euros. And once you're on the island, of course, you should also visit these beautiful cities, and the main city which you shouldn't miss is actually the capital, which is called Plaka. And Plaka is a little bit of a tale of two sides. From one side you have the super cute, Pinterest, a little bit expensive, I have to say, part which is made mostly for tourists, and this is where the expensive hotels are. And then from the other side is where actually locals live. And you can also go to the village of Polonia, which is on the northeast side, but don't plan to spend too much time in there because it was actually a lot smaller than what I expected. It is kind of like 1 or 2 streets. And don't forget about the small village which I told you about, which is Fyropotamos, and I would really suggest you going and looking at these colorful houses and also in what type of paradise are people living in there. A city which most probably you have seen photos of is Glima, because it is another fishing village which is really popular among tourists because it is so pretty and colorful. And here are my budget-friendly tips for you. Well, first of all, especially I would really suggest you not going into high season. Well, especially if you want to save some money or you're just not a big fan of the warm weather. If you decide to go in like May or even in June or after that later in September or October, it will be a lot better time for you to go, because literally everything will cost less, from like the hotel or also your flight. And you guys, if you actually decide to rent a car, then I can suggest to you staying outside of the main cities, because the island itself, it's so small that even if you're outside of the main city, you can be like 5 minutes by car away, but the cost of the hotel will be like half of what you would pay in a bigger city like Plaka or Adamas. You guys, if you haven't noticed this, I actually love Greek food, love going to their amazing restaurants, but a great tip that I have for you is to actually limit them to only one a day. Best way to save money is by not renting the car and getting the bus. As I told you, you have to plan a little bit more in advance so you make sure you don't miss this bus. But if you're staying there just for a couple of days, it might be a great way to move around. And as I told you, one of the ways to get to the island is by taking a ferry. But if you decide to opt for the slow ferry, the price will be like half. From Santorini to Milos, we paid a little bit more than 50 euros per person, but if you decide to get the slow ferry, then the price is around 25. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one, still from Milos, because there is still so much that I have to show you. Love you all!